Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting we're doing today is called Golden Creek. It's a 12 by 16. We did the study last week, and that was a 5 by 7. Of the two, I'd say I'd give the edge to the 12 by 16. I'm a bit happier with it. It has a bit more color and chroma, which is good. Actually, and which is, it's funny how, I think in the recent video I'm complaining about how people compare my studies to the larger ones, and yet, I do it constantly. But I do it in the knowledge of the limitations of the study and things I can pull off there, versus it's a lot more work and attention and effort to pull off the larger painting than it is a study. You can get away with a lot of things at that small size with a big brush. Just a gesture here, smack a color there, and it tells the story because it's all, a bit more abstracted, I guess I would say. I try to get that across in the larger works as well. I certainly work with much larger brushes, but I am not the kind of artist that can just pull off this gestural stuff at the larger size. It's not really where my head's at. I do my best actually not to really over detail things, but there is definitely more rendering in detail in the larger works, no question. I put limitations on what it will be that I express as detail in the larger works, where that's pretty much automatic in the studies since they're so much smaller. Anyway, sorry if you hear a little background noise or some yard work going on outside. Probably you won't hear it. It's been my experience. It's generally okay. So where are we at? This is Sunday. Today, the 12th of February. And had an okay week in the studio. A lot of interruptions, a lot of errands and things I needed to run, car repairs and things. But I can't really complain since I'm given a lot of time to do my work, and I seem to be driven to get as much work done as possible, and that's when you invest activity with meaning, it becomes meaningful. So what else can I say? I do think that's a valuable thing to do. I think that human beings always gravitate towards meaning, and I think it's something that an educated and enlightened person will be in charge of that process. They will actively be deciding what they will ascribe meaning and what they won't, and they will be willing to change if necessary, if good reasons to change manifest. So last week I finished off. I don't think I'm gonna. There is one large one that I'm gonna have to do a third pass on. It's a 1622, and it's just a few things I'm gonna have to do to it. I actually was in the process of finishing it when I got a call and I had to leave the studio. And I mean, it's 98% done, so I don't plan on overdoing it with that painting. I actually need to go in and coat it on Monday. And pardon me, it's important that I coat the paintings. I can't make accurate judgments of what's going on when I have these matte areas contrasting against the glossy areas, and this is the reason why I coat the work with liquid in between stages. And I think I talked about that just yesterday, and I have to wait 2 days. I've learned that lesson the hard way. There's a lot of times I assume something's dry, only to discover that it's a nightmare. You start brushing on this liquid and watching the paint smear. That's not good. So I've learned to be cautious when I do that, and discretion is always the better part of valor. I did select some 4 from the studies I'd done previously, like I was mentioning yesterday in yesterday's video, I selected 4 studies that I'm going to do up as larger paintings, and they're going to range in size from 10 by 14 to 1622. I had one of those board. Actually, I don't know why, but my ply guy made it an 18 by 22. It's a very odd size, too square for me. Not, I like painting in squares, but I don't like these half-ass squares. Even 8 by 10, of which I've done a plethora. It feels almost like a square to me, but it's about as squared a rectangle as I would work in. If any more square, I'd just as soon paint in a square. Now, actually, Golden Creek, the one we're doing today, is sort of interesting because I have a lot of 11 by 14 verticals. I really like that size and proportion for vertical paintings, but I had these 12 by 16 verticals done. Again, I think the ply guy is just doing something, I don't know what, but this image worked. And one of the reasons I don't like 12 by 16 is a little too vertical. I like things squared out a bit more, but it worked real well for this image. And by the way, as I'm looking at this video, you can see there's a cloud up in the sky, and it's kind of got this pointy triangular quality. This is something I picked up on, of course, immediately after completing the first stage and looking at the painting, and you'll see in a little bit here, it's one of the first things that I modify. I don't mind a subtle compositional arrow towards, clearly we're being led up into that clump of trees on the right and behind it, and that bit of cloud is effectively acting as a pointer that way too, but it's too strong and too intense. And the thing with clouds is you need to have them soft and airy. Never have them too defined. I might even talk a little bit about painting clouds today. Not like I'm always working on them myself, but I've had some good results. I certainly have painted a lot of skies and clouds and things, and I have my opinions about it. And oh, pardon me. Well, I succeeded. I failed, just like everybody else. But I'm always willing to share my insights, and I certainly have succeeded more than some, and failed more than others. But whatever. Let's see what else is going on. I get so cross at, I don't even want to call it modern art. Let's just call it postmodern art. A lot of it, it's just such garbage. I've ranted about that on the blog extensively. And the funny thing is, what really comes to mind is that a change was necessary. Just doing straight up traditional art forever would not have served the art or humanity. It was good that abstraction came in, and it was valuable in a lot of ways. However, once you start completely trashing beauty and imagery that's designed to uplift and inspire, it's not hard to do. It's not hard to destroy a monument that took centuries to build, but to rebuild it will take a lot longer than it took to destroy it. This is just the fact of the matter. And the thing is, with the postmodernism, is like so many people just attach themselves to this or that idea, and it's my problem with it is that it's just an exercise of the ego. The reasons that and all of us have our blind spots. So those of you that might be postmodernist artists, take this. I'm not talking about you. How about that? You're one of the good ones, okay? But the bad ones, they'll just take some idea, and it's all been done. Everything's been done. There's nothing else. And the sane artist, I feel, is going to resort back to creating something that is going to inspire, going to inspire the best aspects of humanity to come up in the people that are looking at their work. That's where I'm at, you know. And I've, you know, geez, when I was a kid, I loved drawing comics and scary monsters, and I still like things like skulls and things like that. I like a lot of dark imagery, but what I don't like is absence of meaning in art, and, you know, irony taken to extremes, you know, and moral relativism running rampant, you know. I don't believe in moral relativism. I think it's a bad plan, you know. There is a such thing as something being right or wrong, and there is a such thing as a higher moral law, you know. That said, I'm not a Christian or anything, but, you know, it's just the way it is. That's also said, again, you know, we are ascribing meaning to things, and we are meaning generation machines as human. This is the thing that I've ascribed meaning to, which is creating beautiful paintings, or as beautiful as I can make them. You know, sometimes they're not, but, you know, here we go. Anyway, a lot of rambling today, as per usual. You ought to be used to it by now. Thanks for joining me, though. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all you guys subscribing. That's awesome. You know, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Love it. And we'll be back next week with a whole new painting. So meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.